Hey, what's up guys? This is Brandon from Fast Sports Performance, and today I'm gonna take you guys through a overhead squat specific warm-up. So the benefit of the overhead squat for a majority of the people watching is gonna be an assessment tool. So the overhead squat is one of the most challenging movements for people to do. That's gonna test total body stability and mobility. So the workout today can be broken down to a couple phases or blocks. So every great workout is gonna start with great preparation. So especially a very complex movement such as the overhead squat needs to have a lot of preparation to go into that, okay? The main part of the workout is gonna be the overhead squat portion itself. So we're kind of gonna isolate that movement and you'll perform that movement in its own, okay? Taking adequate rest and making sure that you're performing the movement correctly and properly. Then we'll go into the accessory work where we'll basically hit compound movements to get the rest of our lower body and upper back engaged throughout the workout. As mentioned, the first phase that we're gonna go through is the warm-up. Okay, so we actually implement overhead squats a lot of times in the warm-up themselves, okay, because of the mobility that you're gonna get through the hips, the thoracic mobility, and the stability you're also gonna get in that squat position. Okay, but when focusing just on the overhead squat, we really wanna make sure we hit a few key points. All right, we really gonna need mobility in the ankles to allow us to get to the proper squat depth properly. We're gonna need a lot of mobility in the upper spine, thoracic mobility, to actually achieve the lockout position correctly. And then you're gonna need stability as you're going throughout the movement. So you need a lot of midsection stability as you descend down to your squat, and then stability in the hips so you're not shifting around when you're at the bottom of the hole there. The first part of our warm-up is gonna be some soft tissue work. All right, so there's many different tools you guys can use for this. You can use a foam roller, a kettlebell, a lacrosse ball, massage stick, really anything to get some self-myofascial release. All right, I'm gonna use a foam roller here. So really, we're just gonna hit the big areas. We're gonna kind of do the full body today. The second part of our warm-up is gonna be focused on mobility. So I'm gonna do a really basic squat mobility drill. You're gonna just need a dumbbell or a kettlebell, works really well for this drill. We're just gonna do a squat hold. So throughout the squat hold, I'm gonna add in some prying and some ankle mobility work throughout the movement. Similar to the soft tissue work, there's no real right or wrong. You kind of want to work around and find the areas where you're tight. So then you do want to specifically target the ankles, because the ankles are such a common problem for people when it comes to squatting and tightness. We're going to do an ankle rock on the wall, okay? There's a lot of different variations of this. Today we're just going to go kneeling. So what I want to do is I want to find my foot probably about a fist away from the wall, okay? So it's gonna depend on you and your limitations, but that's a general good starting point, okay? All I wanna do from this position is I wanna keep my heel pressed down and I wanna drive my knee towards that wall. So what this is doing is opening and stretching out the back of my heel here, and you'll perform this for reps. So we're gonna just do a lying open book as our thoracic mobility variation. So when you do this, you're gonna lay on your side, you're gonna lay so your knees are touching and your feet are together touching, okay? I wanna keep my left side, my down side, pressed into the ground throughout the entire movement, okay? We'll start with our hands together, and I'm slowly gonna just take my arm back and take it back as far as I can, opening up my spine and my upper back. You may even feel a little bit stretch in the chest here as well. That's normal as you come through. The third and final phase of our warm-up is going to be the activation portion. So the target areas that I really want to focus on activating is going to be my glutes, my backside basically, all right, and even a little bit of midsection work, okay? All right, guys, so this is a very specific movement to warm up for the overhead squat, all right? We're going to go basically a body weight overhead squat facing the wall. Why I'm facing the wall is due to the fact that it's going to help keep me in the proper posture. If I lean too far forward, I'm gonna headbutt the wall. If I lean too far back, I'm gonna fall on my butt. Another big thing we wanna hit for the warm-up series is gonna be hip activation. All right, so for the purpose of this warm-up, we're just gonna hit a basic body weight glute bridge. All right, because it's very simple and you can do really anywhere you're working out at. When you focus on this glute bridge, you really need to put emphasis on the squeeze at the top. You don't wanna try to extend your hips too high and get away from the squeeze of the glutes. And the final part of our activation series is kind of like the cherry on top, all right? To finish up a successful warm-up, all right, it's good to add in some kind of high CNS required movement, such as a jump, a throw, or a sprint at the end. You don't need to go for like a lot of reps or high yardage. You just need to do something explosive and violent to get you ready for the workout ahead. All right, we're gonna do box jumps today, all right, because it is focused on lower body power to kind of fit into this, this theme for today. After all that, that finishes the warm-up. So now we're gonna get to the actual workout of the session. Okay, as I mentioned previously in the beginning, the main focus today is all about the overhead squat. So kind of everything we're gonna do leading up to this point has been geared to making us have a more efficient overhead squat. The overhead squat is one of the most complex movements you can do in any weight room. Okay, not many of you are gonna be able to go right underneath a barbell, or at least not many of you are gonna be able to do that properly. Okay, so the progressions of the overhead squat would look such as this. Bodyweight overhead squat on the wall, what we just did to finalize the warm-up. If that's where you're at right now, that's fine. Kind of practice that movement and kind of stay where you're at and where you're going. The second stage of that would be to perform the overhead squat with a band or PVC pipe, like so. It's a little similar to a barbell, but not quite the same as far as weight, of course. Or if you are fortunate enough to have a training bar, very common in Olympic lifting facilities, you can use that, which is a lighter barbell. In the third and final progression, the ultimate point we're trying to reach, would be a barbell overhead squat, because that has the most load. Then we'll actually go through the squat pattern. So the big key is maintaining this PVC pipe or the barbell directly over the crown of the head. And all you're gonna do is, as I descend down to the squat, I'll push my hips back, my knees will travel over my toes, and I'm fighting to maintain that squat overhead. If at first you're not able to achieve the proper squat depth, work in the areas that you're able to, okay? If you're initially just here and that's your range, that's fine. Especially for those who are qualified to use a barbell. All right, you need to understand how to fail properly, how to miss a weight, okay? Probably majority of you, when performing the movement, are gonna have a common theme of going too far forward, okay? Not many too far back. But when missing, it's the same action, whether it be forward or back, okay? You wanna keep the barbell going the direction that the barbell wants to go, and you wanna move your body in the opposite direction. Well, now we're gonna go on to our accessory work. So even if you can perform the overhead squat well with a barbell, you can't really get a ton of load overhead, okay? Unless you're doing a specific focus on improving your snatch, okay? So we're still gonna hit one more squat variation today. All right, we're gonna keep the front squat with the barbell, just because we already did all that work to warm up your upper back, work on thoracic mobility. So we're gonna take advantage of that. To finish off the lift of the workout, we're just gonna add in some accessory work. We're gonna do accessory of the lower body with the legs, and also the upper back, just because those were the areas that we were in today that pair with our squat variations. Okay, so lower body wise, all right, single leg work is an absolute necessity. Okay, no matter who you are, all right, you have to get a little bit of instability with the single leg work. Okay, it's good for overall health. All right, it will limit the weight you can use, so it usually keeps you a little more honest. All right, and overall, you're gonna feel great in your legs and your great pump. The second movement we're gonna do is gonna be for the upper back. Kind of same concept. It's often neglected with lifestyle and the way we live today. We're usually in a hunch position at our desks, playing Xbox on our phones, etc. So what we're gonna do. We are going to do a little bit of a cool down. We're going to stretch out a little bit. There's just two really great movements that will pair well with your focus on overhead squat and improving a lot of the necessary prereqs to successfully perform that movement. So we're going to go hanging. Simple as it sounds, we're going to perform hanging from a pull-up bar. When you do the hanging, we're going to try to hold for 60 seconds. You have to, you can break it up into 2 sets of 30 seconds or however long you can hold it for. Okay, the hanging is a great thing to help kind of decompress your body. Imagine like you're gonna be like stretching out your body when you're performing the hanging movement. And the second exercise is gonna be a banded stretch off the wall basically a squat position, squat stretch off the wall with the bands. That's just gonna help us get more comfortable in the bottom position of our squats. All right, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this workout. If you have any questions, all right, please leave them in the comment section below. All right, please keep an eye out on all of our platforms for continuing work with Swatober.